What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Opening Arguments, Episode 2, brought to you by Conduct Detrimental, your leader in sports law coverage. As always, I'm your host, Conlon Farrell, and today I'm delighted to be joined by the lovely ladies that make up the dynamic duo of Misconduct, the TikTok account featuring all the sports law coverage you need to know. You can follow them on TikTok at Sports Law below. Emily Costanzo and Stephanie Weissenburger. Ladies, welcome. Glad to have you on.
Happy to be here. Excited to get going. It's been an interesting week, to say the least.
An interesting week of prep work. Yes,
exactly. Sports law coverage never stops.
Yeah, I'm sure you ladies have now seen Opening Arguments Episode 1 over a half dozen times, of course. Well, debate style format. Normally your allies, today your enemies. All right, somebody's got to be declared a winner. We're going to have 3 topics across the biggest headlines in sports law right now. Once you hear the squeaky hammer, your time's up, and the other person gets to make a counter rebuttal opening statement, and we move forward. Right now, we will start in Major League Baseball. Okay, Major League Baseball, obviously, spring training should be in full swing by now. However, it is not, and that being a lockout has plagued the league for over 3 months now. Commissioner Rob Manfred announcing last Tuesday the cancellation of the first week of the Major League Baseball season, all while doing so grinning like some sort of bad card player with a full house on the table. As strange as it was, Steph, I'll toss it to you first. How many games does Major League Baseball get to play this season? Is it over or under 100?
I'm going with the over on this one, and that's for 3 reasons. First, we're going to start with the numbers, strictly just the numbers. Manfred announced, 6 games are out. First 2 seasons, canceled. Pretty likely that, in the next week or 2, there'll probably be more games canceled, but 162 games in an MLB season. We have 56 games left so far. That is plenty of time for both sides to strike a deal. Then first, we have the owners' greed, which I think all of us can agree with. Baseball owners, pretty greedy. They want that revenue. The revenue is what they need in this stance. That's just not going to happen. They know that they have to move the needle closer. They might be putting up a front now, but that's going to change because they have to realize without the players, there is no season. And like I said before, that's just not a risk that they're going to take. And then we also have the fans.
I'm giving you an early gavel. Emily, no more. Bing, the bell goes off. Emily,
let me lose.
Go ahead. You have 60 seconds.
All right. So obviously unsurprising, Steph went over. I'm going under. I have no faith in Manfred as it stands. And honestly, I think that the owners are going to they're going to recognize the fact that the players are the good guys right now. The fans are loving the players and the fans are hating the administration. And you want to know what? They are not anywhere close to coming down on a deal. They're really not. The MLB has come to the table and has been willing to compromise multiple times through multiple rounds. They've come up and said, you know what, we'll give you a little bit here, give us a little bit there. However, the leadership of the MLB on Manfred's hand, they are dumb. And you want to know what? The end of the day, Manfred is the first attorney who's the commissioner of baseball. And you want to know what? I don't think he likes baseball that much, so I don't think he cares if there's a season. He's still getting paid his $11 million salary.
That's done. It. Steph, your rebuttal.
All right, I'm going to agree with you on the point that Manfred, fun sucker. We get that. We're on the same page about that. But I'm going back to my fan point that I didn't fully get to explain because that's a huge part. Public perception is highly influential, especially when you have more players that are followed by fans. You don't have a lot of owners that are followed by fans, with the exception of maybe Steve Cohen and the Mets. Now, like I said before, during the last lockout, they did not have social media in the way they have now. And with the public perception before, the owners could control the narrative. This time it's the players controlling the narrative. With the fans not happy,
fans
need the season
You're done.
now. They will eventually get there.
You're going over, you're costing yourself points. All right, Emily, finish this out.
So, you know what, Steph? I hear you. I hear you on the fans. The fans love baseball and the fans love the game. America's pastime, all the above. However, we are living in a world that is so dominant on fans are in the players' corner. So if these fans are as committed as I know they are, I've got my Yankee hat right there, and I'm with them. they're going to respect the fact that the players are finally advocating on behalf of themselves, especially on behalf of younger players who a massive amount of what the MLBPA is looking for is support of the younger guys. So if the fans are real, they're coming down with the players.
And that wraps up topic 1. Ladies, excellent job out of both of you. However, point here, I have to go with Emily. I don't believe that we're going to see too much baseball this year. Both players and owners agreeing that they would be willing to sit out the entire season if need be. There's still a large gap.
Owners are too greedy.
And the luxury that may be. But point Costanzo to open us up here on episode 2 of our opening arguments brought to you by Conduct Detrimental. All right, now we move to the hardwood. The WNBA with a story coming out this week that New York Liberty owner Joe Tsai was fined a league record, $500,000 for having chartered flights for his team to do team activities and for road games and such like that. Well, the league says it needed to fine Tsai to deter him from doing it further because it was against league policy in the collective bargaining agreement, saying that the additional compensation he was providing wasn't fair because other league owners couldn't meet what he was doing. Let's just put it bluntly. Emily, is that a fair rule in the WNBA, CBA?
Absolutely not. Do I get to go off, or can I?
Yeah, go off. It's your time. 60 seconds. Let's go.
Right. Okay. So ready, go. All right. So absolutely not. It is not a fair rule. And again, it goes back to the same underlying issue that's with the MLB. It comes down to choices. And we are living again in an age where finally women's sports are getting the attention and the emphasis and the dollars that they deserve. If Tsai is a uber billionaire and he can afford to pay for these guys' chartered flights, then he might as well do it. The problem is not that he chartered the flights, it's that he exceeded some arbitrary number that was arbitrary cap that was put into the CBA. However, I'm going to quote the GOAT, I'm going to paraphrase, but Sue Bird said, charter flights and that level of accommodation is synonymous to professional athletes, and they're treating these athletes as what they are, elite. Stupid rule. They should be able to do it.
Steph, counter.
All right, I'm just going to go out and say it because from my perspective, this is strictly a business decision. You know, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has come out and said she wants these players to have chartered flights eventually, but that is just not something that can happen with the state of the league right now. The finances are just not there. With the team that makes about $60 million in revenue, they also have about $70 million of expenses annually. They're essentially losing money. Not only that, but then you also have the fact that the NBA owns 50% of the league. So the reason that there's this 22% that goes to the players compared to the NBA's 50% that goes to the players, it comes down to the same exact point that I said. This is a business decision for the WNBA. This league is unfortunately fighting to stay alive as it is. And with this new $75 million sponsorship or funding that they received from investors, hopefully they will be able to start marketing themselves better and they can get to this point eventually, but it's just not there.
Costanzo, your counter.
Throw me on the clock. So 3 points to that. One, my first and initial reaction is, if not now, when? Kathy Engelbert has done a phenomenal job. But okay, so you want charter flights. Well, then when are they coming? Also, I agree with you, Steph. You have to look at revenues and you have to look at what these teams are bringing in. However, that charter flight was paid for out of pocket by the league's owners. And that's what Sabrina Ionescu came out and said. They said, can your team owners do this? The reality is some can't, but some can. And in the Liberty's case, they can. Finally, the first 25 years.
Too bad, finally.
Okay.
Steph, final.
All right, I'm just going to go straight to your point where you said some owners can, some owners can't. Yes, you're correct. That is why that provision is in the CBA right now, because it is an unfair competitive advantage. If I was a player that was trying to go play for a team, hell yeah, I would want to go play for the New York Liberty because I could go on a chartered flight. But for other teams, that's not possible. And that goes against the CBA. It is written in the CBA for that reason. Again, if not now, when they have the revenue to actually get it there. If that involves the NBA perhaps giving up a little bit of their piece of the pie then too, then maybe they should do that. But right now, finances aren't there.
You're off.
So they deserve less in the meantime? I don't think so.
Russ weighs in his hand. That's it. Enough. Bickering's over. A point's been awarded. Stephanie, I agree with you. If not everyone can have a piece of the pie and not everyone can bring a fork to the table, unfortunately, the league and the CBA, it's meant to be fair, equal for everyone. So although the luxuries that Mr. Tsai's providing seem nice, amenities great, everyone's got to be able to sit in first class. Everyone's going to be able to charter flights. If not, then it's not fair for the rest of the league, and it could impact free agency, other stuff like that. All right, we move now to Kyrie Irving. Should the Brooklyn Nets take it upon themselves to lobby for Kyrie Irving to New York City Hall and make an exception as an athlete for the vaccine laws? Steph, we'll go to you.
I mean, I'm going to just start out with the main point. Rules are rules. Although the New York City mandate might be contradictory to a lot of things, especially when it comes to athletes, because yes, under the mandate, people who are coming from, let's say, the Pelicans are allowed to play in the Barclays Center because they're not part of that. This is a private sector vaccine mandate. If you are working in the state of New York, you have to be vaccinated if you're going in person. Rules are rules. Like New York City Mayor Adams was saying, if you give that up for just Kyrie Irving, you're going to have a whole bunch of other issues. You can't be telling all of the workers in New York that they have to be vaccinated, but then leave it open for someone like Kyrie Irving just so that he can play in these basketball games. And honestly, the Nets, they made their bed. They have to lie in it too. They made that James Harden trade getting Ben Simmons, who now has a back injury. He might not be able to play, before they had a feeling or knew that this mandate might change. Sorry, tough luck.
Emily, counter.
Okay, so actually I agree with Steph on a couple points. So she's talking about Eric Adams saying, oh, he doesn't want to change the rule. Well, actually, he came out and point blank said that this regulation is not fair. Moving on, goes back to, again, with the WNBA and the MLB choices. The Nets implemented a COVID rule at the onset of COVID to prohibit Kyrie from playing, but then there was a COVID outbreak, so then they changed the rule. And because the thing is, they can change the rule, and the city of New York is allowing entertainers and professional athletes coming into their town. They don't need to be vaccinated. Also, no other professional league is requiring vaccines. So yes, they can bend the rules, so why wouldn't they? And you're talking about your star player. He's going to bring in the money. So if they're running the business that they say they are, which is a multi-million-dollar industry, let the guy play. You're already moving the needle. So why are you going to die on the hill that's going to cost you millions?
All right, finished early. Wow, conserving time there. Stephanie, your 30-second counter.
I'm calm.
I mean, I 100% agree with you. I'm not saying that, this rule is not fair. It sucks that, these players are coming from out of town and they're able to play in the games. But again, rules are rules. The Nets can't just go against a New York City mandate. If New York wants to change their rules, then I would fully support it. And they probably should. But at this point, rules are rules. Like Mayor Adams was saying, he might disagree with it, but that doesn't mean that he can just automatically go against it when everyone else has to follow it. If you were to make Kyrie Irving able to do that, wouldn't go over well.
All right, Emily, round us out here. Final 30 seconds.
Absolutely. So again, rules are rules, but the city of New York is saying that people can come in that are not New York residents and they are free to do whatever they want. You can be vaccinated, you can't. It doesn't matter. So rules are rules. Rules are rules until someone changes them. New York already is changing them. As of tomorrow, when New York changes that rule, the logic is that Kyrie could be a spectator. He could watch the games at Barclays, but he can't play in the games at Barclays. So rules are rules. Well, yeah, but not really. And so it's all really just an arbitrary dumpster fire of how people choose to handle COVID.
That's it.
Sounds like the Nets need to speak to the state of New York then.
Yeah, well, I will say that's the biggest issue right now. It's not as so much the Nets issue, it's the state of New York and the city's vaccine laws. Still, he's a private sector. He's a private employee at a New York City-based business. If city employees, have to be vaccinated, then so should Kyrie. So I don't think you can make an exception. Steph, the final point, best 2 out of 3 goes to you. That's where we'll end there. Actually, no, that's not where we'll end. All right. Who's being held in contempt this week? MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred, as he's yet bungled another major issue with this lockout as he announced the cancellation of the first week of games. As you remember, he stumbled in the past. If you go back to World Series 2020, when he presented Corey Seager the MVP trophy. Now, he said that he slurred his words because of the reverb, hearing back his own voice. A lot of people said he might have had a few too many adult beverages before the ceremony. All right, we're going to play the video right now. You be the judge.
You thrilled our fans throughout the postseason with a great performance. You led the Dodgers to a World Series victory, and it's my pleasure to recognize your great play with the Willie Mays Most Valuable Player Award presented by Chevrolet.
We going over under 10 beers? How many beers did Manfred have? Over under 10.
Over under 10 beers. Honestly, though, actually, wait, hold on. I do have a clip we just sent in to us. This is Rob Manfred in the owner's box of Game 6. Here we go.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
But there he is. He just wanted to do one. That's all he wanted to do. Oh goodness, Rob, no. It's so good. It's so good, obviously.
He needs to bring some of that party fun to the baseball negotiations.
Yeah, right? That's where he's exactly. He needs to bring the fun back in baseball. Obviously, that's the great Will Ferrell. All right, and that wraps up episode 2 of Opening Arguments. So glad the ladies of Misconduct, Stephanie Weissenburger, Emily Costanzo, were able to join me. But real quick, ladies, I just have what gives. Nobody's going to ask me about the powdered blue Kansas City Royals jersey I'm walking today?
Who is that? What is that? What's the jersey of the day today for opening?
The jersey of today, for all you jersey hunters out there, you won't be able to find it because I bought the last one. It's over. Forget about it. Bo knows.
Look at that.
Mr. Bo knows. Bo knows we need baseball. All right, that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen.
Bo knows we need Bojangles.
For Conduct Detrimental, I'm Colin Farrell.